Let's discuss all of this with Rajesh Bhatia, the Group CFO of Uflex. Hi Rajesh, good afternoon to you, and thanks a lot for joining us today on BloombergQuint. Well, you do packaging of two types, BOPP as well as BOPET. Tell us, are you witnessing any sort of structural changes, and where do you see majority of the growth coming from?
So I think Indian packaging industry is still at a very nascent stage, and it's definitely destined to grow as we grow into the future, led by the consumption growth. The food packaging, the snacking is the way to go, and we clearly see that 8 to 12% could be the range depending upon the different time and all. So, clearly we see that, huge upside for the packaging industry in India, led by that consumption growth.
Rajesh, it's an industry which is cyclical in nature, and if I'm not mistaken, we've seen the spreads from BOPET and also BOPP improving in the third quarter. Could you tell us what are the current trends indicating, and what sort of spreads do you foresee going into FY20?
So I think the Q4 margins will definitely be better than the Q3 margins for the BOPET as well as for the BOPP industry. We are already seeing the trends emerging out of the results which have been declared for SRF, Polyplex, and Cosmo Films. So even Cosmo Films which is largely a BOPP player, has reported a better EBITDA margin this quarter as compared to the immediately preceding quarters, and so is some of the other players. So the BOPET demand continues to be robust. So led by the higher capacity utilization overall, we are seeing that, we had a situation in 2011 where, the BOPET demand went through roof, and, a lot of capacity came. And then, the prices remained subdued for a few years. Starting from 2016, the capacity utilization starting to build up, and, that's showing in the growth in the EBITDA margins for the industry as a whole. And being a dominant player, we also stand to definitely benefit by it. BOPP worldwide, including India, was slightly subdued, given that there was a lot of capacity expansion, and that the overhang of the excess production was there. But Q4 we are definitely seeing a better pricing, a better the uptick in the demand growth, and as that demand supply mismatch is getting filled. So we will see in the next few quarters a better pricing for the BOPP also. I think BOPET, for the time being, we can see that the industry as a whole is happy with the current margins, and the only spoiler to the party could be if there is a reckless capacity expansion as we see in 2011, subsequent to the 2011 boom.
The new segment which you had entered, and if I remember from our previous conversation, you had mentioned the total benefit of entering into aseptic liquid packaging will trickle in FY19. And also this segment is giving you higher margins compared to your other packaging business, I think somewhere about 20 to 22%. Tell us, when do you break even here? And going into FY20, will you be able to reap the benefit of the capacity expansion plans that you've taken in the past for this? Will this also lead to your blended margins moving higher?
So I think Asepto is gradually inching up, and we're seeing that this current summer season we're doing quite well. We've said that there are about 30 customers we have, and we're still trying to get into the large customer accounts, and that's what is.
I think there is, I think there's some problem with the audio. The link's frozen. We'll touch base back with the management of Uflex. We were speaking to the CFO, Mr. Rajesh Bhatia, who was talking about the prospects of this industry. Remember, he mentioned that the margins in Q4 can be better than Q3 because the spreads that one was seeing into BOPET and to BOPP packaging were improving in Q4. I think he's back with us. Mr. Rajesh, please complete your point.
Yeah, so Asepto is definitely, we will see a better performance in FY20 over FY19. But if I were to say that the full potential, I think give us a year more. FY20 is the year when we will look at expanding that capacity, because the current capacity is about 3.5 billion packs a year, and we have to have one more line at a cost of about 50 CR to increase the capacity to about 7 billion packs. So FY21 is what we are looking at, the aseptic packaging doing a robust business. So, I know that, give as per the earlier direction given to the market, it's about, it's a bit delayed, but, currently this is what the status is.
How much of your revenues comes from the FMCG space? There's a lot of talk about slowdown in the consumption space. Are you witnessing any sort of, in terms of orders that you're getting from these companies, has that slowed down?
We're not seeing anything currently, because the summer season is a peak demand season for the snacking, for the bottling, and all that. I think the real test is, normally for our industry is the Q3, when after, the peak festival season, both in India and abroad, that's where we see. So, that will be the testing time. But currently, we're not seeing anything affecting the demand side.
I just want to come in with regards to an industry-wide perspective from you. Expectations are industry-wide volume growth of about 6 to 7% Is that reasonable enough, or do you feel that you can do better than that? And the other point being, within the space itself, the barriers to entry are low, but the barriers to scale are high. As a company, as a prominent company within the industry, having a market share of about 25%, is that something that you face as a challenge as well, which is the challenge to scale up in a meaningful way?
So I think for us, it's clear that, our India strategy, if you see over the last few years, we've been concentrating more on, the packaging side, which is more sticky business, rather than, expanding our capacity on the film side. India per se, we've not added any capacity in the film side after 2003. 2004 and film side have been only overseas, and we are likely to take up more projects over there as and when they are approved by the board. But clearly, in India, the focus is on the packaging, and given that we are the largest player in that particular segment, and the way the margins are likely to be better, as well as more stickier business rather than being a commodity business. So for us, it's a clear differentiation in the two strategies what we may have.
All right, got that. Mr. Bhatia, we leave it at that. Thank you so very much for joining in. Appreciate you taking out the time, management at Uflex there, talking about the bigger opportunities within the plastic packaging industry. Market's still holding strong. I think we're just about 60 odd points away from the highs, all-time highs on the Nifty. Even more stronger is the Nifty Bank, which is now up 1,258 odd points. So really stellar performance. 30,707 is where it's at. And the other variable, or the other monitorable after in reaction to the exit polls, has been the currency, or the rupee, which strengthened closer to 1%, more than 1%.